Hello guys, welcome back to Blizzard94. Today we're going to be doing a small recap because as you may infer from the title, this is the first chess tournament that I win while staying in character. I stay true to the name of the channel by dressing up as a freaking wizard for a chess tournament. In fact, I think this deserves the hat, so I'm just going to put back my hat on. Very nice hat right here. And this is a tournament in the South Miami Chess Club. Usually annually, every single year, they always have tournaments dedicated to holidays. And in October, um, well, technically over 20 minutes ago, when it was still technically the 25th, on the 25th, there was a tournament called the Halloween Open, and I decided to play it. Um, it was pretty decent. I went there with my friends, and I remember I was actually having a good time. So I just came in with a wizard. I came in with a poncho and this hat, and I was just like steamrolling the event. My first game was actually the only messy one, but then afterwards it kind of just I went with the flow, and the rest was just kind of straightforward. And I actually managed to finish with a perfect score of 5-0, which was really nice. That meant a lot to me, as now I could just win another cup. And yeah, by the way, when you win in the Open and these types of tournaments, they don't give you a trophy; they just give you like a weird cup, which is like a trophy. So yeah, it has like the exact date of the tournament when it took place, etc., the year, and it is cool. So yeah, it's whatever. But yeah, I just want to get to the game. I don't want to make it too long. Um, Again, this was a tournament to celebrate Halloween, etc. Even though Halloween's like 5 days away, but again, makes sense. My opponent has the white pieces. His name is Andres, and I am black. My name is Brian Amaya. I show Master Brian Amaya, but I just put wizard because why not? Let's see the wizardry. So Andres starts with e4. Sorry about that. I'm not trying to do Agan Mater, but yeah, e4, and I go with the trusty Scandinavian d5. We get e takes d5, queen takes d5, knight c3, queen e5, and over the next course of moves, you're probably gonna see a very smooth flow to it, like my development, etc. And not much is gonna happen. So you're probably gonna see it. So we get h3, knight f6, knight f3, c6, bishop c4, bishop f5, castles, e6, d3, bishop e7, rook e1, castles, bishop d2, queen c7, knight d4, and there's the main point in the game where everything starts to go a bit downhill for my opponent. Here, I could have chose a lot of the other games because there were technically some games that were better, but I thought this game would be very special as it was the last game. Even though it was already secured 4-0, no one could catch me. I thought it would be very, very interesting to highlight this game since this was my final game. And logically, you only play the move bishop g6. Now, my opponent here, the reason behind knight d4 is not that he makes me lose a tempo with bishop g6, but the fact that he is ready to sack the bishop for 2 pawns and the exchange, which I told him after the game that it had to be bad. Like it wasn't that good, and I know this because Hikaru has a lot of matches with like Eric Hansen, and in one of those matches he did he was on the side of a Carl Khan where he got 2 pieces while Eric had like 2 or 3 pawns, and Hikaru basically told me that the 2 pieces are always better than 2 pawns. So I learned that from memory. I'm like, okay, I just blitz this out. I'm gonna give him the exchange, and basically we diverge into this nice early end game where we trade off on some pieces. I go knight d5. I do not want to trade on e4, improving the structure, so I ignore it. Knight d5. Bishop takes b8. At this point, I practically knew, yeah, I was just game over. Rook takes b8. Queen g4. Rook d8. We swap queens. Bishop e7. Bishop f6. Improving the placement of my bishop, targeting the weak points. We got b2 here, b2, c2, even d3 actually. These are all pinpoints. Exactly why I told them that there wasn't any competition to be had. Yeah, it's 2 pawns, but it doesn't do much against 2 pieces. 2 pieces are still pieces. and pawns are just very mobile, and unless they can be rapidly going fast into maybe becoming dangerous past pawns, then it is overall useless. So we get rook b1, rook a b1. Sorry about that. Knight b6, knight e4, and here I go bishop e7 again. We get g4, knight d5, taking control of the fact that now white can never really push f4 because black can just take it, and white also doesn't have any knight c5 because my bishop is guarding, so I felt very comfortable. We get king h2, and now I actually decided to trade. This is a very hefty decision because in first glance it kind of looks bad, but it comes with a very concrete plan, which is once he takes back with the rook, I would implant my knight on f4 with the move g5. So now whatever thing he does, let's say d4, now I put my knight on f4, and there's just no way that I can ever lose this. Let's say he just doubles, just king f7. Sorry, not that, just king f7, and my bishop will go f6. I have ideas of expanding with b6 and c5, breaking open his pawn structure and just trying to enter the flank. So I felt really nice here. Like I felt very comfortable. I was actually expecting maybe like d takes c4 and then knight f4, knight f4, rook b1. This is what I was expecting, and if I was gonna play rook c7, but the computer actually yeah, it's still waiting for black, but you know I thought this would have been a better option. But he didn't go for this. Instead, in the game, he did again rook takes. I did g5. He doubled, king f7, rook f1. At this point, he just starts to drop the ball here. You could say like he essentially just says, okay, there's no way I'm gonna survive this. He's just grinding it down, improving his pieces, clamping down the f4 square. His dark square bishop is drawn. I'm just gonna try to, uh, try to create a little bit of chaos. So we get bishop f6, c3, c5, and now f4. Second pawn, we get knight takes f4, h4, h6, trade, and again he goes off the rails. Rook takes f4, bum, and king g6. At this point, it's just simple conversion, not really much to cover. And as you guys can see, the hat is covering my eyes, so forgive me for that. But again, at this point, there really wasn't much to cover. My opponent simply tried to hold on as long as he could, but after a bit of shuffling back and forth, I simply played b6, consolidating my pawn structure, went behind his pawns, traded, and now I either win the a3 pawn or the d3 pawn, and well, mostly the a3 pawn, so I just chopped it off. We get g5, bishop e7. I actually blitzed out here when he played g5. I was actually had to think, because I thought for a second maybe I'm getting swindled, but nothing happens, just bishop e7. And this is a very important move as it stops rook d6 check, and now I have ideas of going rook b3 to clean up this pawn, and then from this point onwards, once this pawn is lost and the king can, defend the g5 pawn, it is effectively game over. So we get b5, rook a4 check, d4, and here I waited with a really simple move. I waited with the move rook b4. Initially, I was thinking of the move bishop c5, and when king e4 happens, I can just trade. But this would actually be a very losing king and pawn endgame, because you would think, okay, I got two pawns, my king will make it in time. He gets one of my pawns, and it's game over. But as you guys can see, sorry again for no mouse. After king takes a7, and let's say I move like king c5, simply white is in time by one tempo to not only win the black pawn, but simply score his passed pawn and straight to victory. Exactly why I actually halted the idea. Oh, sorry guys, forgive me about that. And I played rook b4 here. Point being that now it is white's move, and white doesn't really have any moves. Had he gone like a move like rook d7, again was gonna take on b5, then g5, and it was just simply game over. So he just doesn't have moves. He tried king g4, but now bishop c5 does come with tempo, and it just liquidates the position faster. We get king f3, rook takes d4. He tried to dodge the exchange, but actually at this point, I believe after rook e5, Rook E5 actually. I played Rook B4. He played check, king takes, and I think at this point he just resigned the game. So overall, very, very exciting win. I managed to not only win a tournament with a wizard costume, I actually have a very nice picture here, which I can show you guys. Let me just find it really quickly so you guys can see it. It's a really, really nice picture. Let's see if I can find it really quick here. Shoot. Oh yeah, here it is. As you guys can see, that was me taking a picture with the trophy, which is again this really weird mug, you know, again to commemorate Halloween. And there we go, guys. A wizard really never gives up. He always pulls through with the last resources he has in his pocket, always trying to trick you and swindle. And that's exactly what I did today. So 5 more seconds of this really nice, amazing picture. Let me just minimize it a little bit here so you can see the glory. I think I'll leave it like that. And yeah, guys, that is all. I don't really make videos like this that often, but again, wanted to make a quick recap, so make sure to like and subscribe. Tell me what you thought about the game itself in the comments below. And once again, it's your boy Blitz Wizard out. And yeah, happy Halloween, spooky season. Alright, guys, ciao.